Okay, so today is Wednesday, September the 5th. We actually just went over last night's homework with add and subtract, and now we are going to do a few problems and start learning how to multiply decimals. We're going to label this notes, okay? You can label it multiplying decimals if you'd like. Some are decimals, some are whole numbers, okay? Just kind of starting out. Okay. Just giving a reminder. Okay. 2 quizzes Friday, or a quiz and a test. One quiz is going to be this, add and subtract. That's the quiz. The test is the perfect squares. So remember to study those, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. And check your remind. Like, look at that thing tonight. Okay. So, multiplying decimals. The first thing that we need to know is how to write them. Because when teachers and worksheets do it, we usually write them horizontally. Okay? Meaning across the paper. Okay, so when writing multiplying of decimals and whole numbers, what I personally say is what? What should we put on top? Y'all are scaring me. Yes. Okay. Which one would you choose, though? Like, would you choose 3.2 or would you choose 5? Yes. Okay. So, it's kind of a loaded question the way y'all are saying it. The biggest number is actually 5, meaning $5 or $3.20. But I want you to think about it. He's right in that. His brain is saying the one with the most numbers in it, or the most digits, right? So on the top, we want to put 3.2. And on the bottom, we're going to want to line up the 5 in this right-hand column. Listen, don't line up decimals, line up the right-hand digits. Now, I have a question. Yes?
We need to go through my lunchbox hours my last night.
Can you wait till we get done with this real quick?
Okay.
Thank you. I just don't want you to miss the notes. Where is the decimal in 5? Like, it's $5. Where would you put it?
In front of it?
Okay, so right there. Okay, think about $5.
Oh,
Behind it. There you go. It would be right there, right? So if you wanted to put it over here, you can. It's up to you. You don't have to. Now, the only reason I'm doing it is for in a minute when we get that answer. So let's multiply. Listen, the steps are the same. Go 5 times 2, 10, put the 0, carry the 1. 5 times 3, plus 1, 16. Okay, now, the last part we got to learn is where to put the decimal. We're going to do what? Now I want you to look. This decimal's here, and that decimal's there. So it's a little different. You bring it straight down and subtract, but this one's a drop different. I'm seeing like she's not looking at me. Yes.
you add how many are behind the decimal.
Yes, listen. You're looking for, wherever your decimal is, how many numbers are behind the decimal. That number is the only one behind it. There's nothing behind that one. So, if there is 1 up here, we're going to move it over once down here. So our decimal would go right there. Remember that? Most of you have done this before, but I got to just show you a few different styles of problems, just in case. Okay. Now, let's show you another one. Let's say number 2 is kind of weird and just so happens to both be 2-digit numbers. And the decimal just so happens to be in the same place. What should we do? What should we put on top? I would put the 6.2. It really doesn't matter. And then 1.9, just what? Kind of happens to line up, doesn't it? Listen, on multiplying, sometimes they do line up. But your brain has still got to, in a minute, count the decimals behind it. Okay? So, ignoring the decimal but doing the multiply. Let's see. 9 times 2, 18. 9 times 6,
54.
plus 1.
55.
Thank you. It's been a long day with that one. Like, a lot of kids have had the wrong answer. Okay, now I'm going to go to the 1, which means I need a placeholder. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 6, 6. I'm going to add it up. Bring it down. 8, 7, and 11. Here's what I'm talking about. Don't bring that decimal straight down. Listen, there are 1, 2 numbers behind the decimals. Yes, so where should it go?
In between the 1 and the 6.
You got it, right there, because we need 2 numbers behind the decimal. Good so far? Easy breezy? Okay. Next one. Now I want to show you one that may be written a little weird. Now I want you to remember. What you think about this? 2 times 3 is?
6.
3 times 2 is? Can you flip-flop multiplication?
Yes.
Yes, because you get the same answer. Like, that's how I test myself. Okay, so look at number 3. What if your teacher wrote one like this? For the worksheet or whatever you want to call it. Okay. What should we put on top?
1, 2, 8.
You got it. Point 1, 2, 3. Listen, this is going to make it easier because then all you got to do is multiply times 8. Line the 8 up with the 3. How many times do we move it over?
3.
3, because look, there's 1, 2, 3 behind the decimal. That decimal is officially right there behind it. So 3 times would be that one. Everybody get on that one? Okay. And the last one I want to try, or just make sure we get, is this one. Let's say we have you'll see why in just a second. Yes, on the top. So work this one out. Then I want to kind of see if you can figure out what the issue is. See, brains are working. I love it. I think there's smoke coming out y'all's ears sometimes. Don't forget your placeholder. On the second row, don't forget your placeholder. How many times do we have to move it over? 5. Look, there's 3 numbers up here, 2 down here, so that's a total of 5 times. If I bounce this thing 5 times, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What happens right there? I gotta add a 0. Okay? That 0 has to be in that spot. It's kind of like the reason is this 0 was not here. We kind of skipped the math to the 0 up there. Okay. Yes?
Nancy Layla Short from the office.
Sure. So make sure if you're bouncing it over, I would always check my work twice, but then you may have to add 1 or 2 zeros. Usually no more than that, but you may have to. Okay, so listen. We're now going to practice with using the classwork homework. I'm going to get you kind of started. I would do it on notebook paper because on the worksheet it doesn't have enough room. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and write the first 4 so you can go ahead and start writing them, and then I'll pass out the worksheets, okay? Now, and it is, I hope to get done with about half of it so you don't have that much homework. Most classes I've got done with 5 or 6, 7 or 8, somewhere in there. So there's only 12, so it's really not too bad. I've had some kids actually bring me, they finished it in class, and I've checked them. So it's kind of one of those things that and I'll bring you the sheet in just a second. I know we keep using worksheets, and we haven't used the textbook that much at all, but we just haven't gotten into stuff that the textbook is showing great problems. So, okay, so those are the first 6. What I'll do is kind of leave those for a second, and I'm going to pass out the worksheet. Okay. Okay, so the question was that on the worksheet, I'm going to kind of show it real quick. That 0, I didn't write it. Okay. You can write it, and you can do it. But to me, if there's nothing in front of it, it's almost like it creates extra work that you don't need. Okay? So, the best way I can explain this is, it's kind of like walking up to someone. So let me, like this one. Do you see 0.4? Okay, I wrote 0.4, and this person wrote 0.4. Okay, they're the same thing. The way I think of it is this. I walked up and said 0.4, meaning like 40 cents. This person almost walked up and said, I have 40 cents and no dollars. And you know how we don't really just walk up to people and say, well, I got 40 cents, but I have no dollars. Like, we just don't, we just say we have 40 cents. Okay, so, listen. I don't make you write that 0 because it just kind of adds to the work. But if you do, it is fine. Totally fine. Totally fine. So like here on the worksheet it says 0.5, and up here it says 0.5. If you want to put a 0 there, that's fine. It just kind of adds an extra step if you go through working it all out. So, okay. So I'm going to kind of start working some answers here. When you get done with like the first 3, look up here. But make sure you're done with them before you kind of look. Let me do it with this. Okay. Okay. Got that one. Everybody get 1.48 on the first one? Good. I heard 1 yes. Yes, okay. 5 times 8 is 40. Okay. What do you think about this right here? Look at my weird number 2. Could I stop right there? like I did the 8,
Yes.
do I have to do those zeros?
No.
Not really, because as long as I count them in, how many times I need to move it over. Now look, I need to move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So when I bounce my decimal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it goes right there. And if you have a 0 in the front, that is fine. Like you could have a 0. It's okay. Good on that one? You sure? Okay. Listen, any questions on those? I can help you anything. Okay, I'm going to kind of pause it for just a second. I'm going to do a few more. Keep going. Okay, keep going. Okay, so what I've done is I'm going to show them 7 and 8, leaving them with 9 through 12 for homework. Some kids have had 7 through 12, some classes. It just kind of matters. Okay, if you are still needing, if you've lost your worksheet or something, there's 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then also don't forget to study the perfect squares. Perfect squares, okay? Keep working, guys. I will be at my desk. If you want me to check all 12 of them, I will, and tell you if they're right or wrong. Thank you. Let me hit. Okay, so there is a mistake. It's not a mistake. There is a mistake. Okay. And I love it because one of my kids has found it, and that is awesome. Listen, right here, I see what I did, and it's basically my handwriting. All my numbers are right. Okay. Up in the problem, it is what it is with this big fat pen. That is a decimal. That is supposed to be where I carried the 1 from 7 plus 8 to make it 15. But when I added right, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I added right. But what it is when I went back up there to count my decimals, I counted 4 numbers behind the decimal. And how many should it be? 2. Very good catch. Listen, I will be the first to say I make mistakes. Feel free. Anytime you want to challenge me, as I'll call it. There you go. And I can totally see what happened there. So it happens. It happens. Listen, if anybody, I found my answer key on my desk, so if anybody wants to come check, I'm ready.